Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. New videos every 24 hours. Very big thank you to everyone who leaves a comment every single video, as it helps out the algorithm. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I don't even know where to begin. There's so much weird stuff happening within this market. There's so much news about bills being passed, people trying to put this legislative thing through. This company is buying. If you've missed the last week, or it's been a week, there are a bunch of new companies who are announcing that they're beginning to buy altcoins. And I mean, not the whole slew of them, but we're making a treasury of this, we're making a treasury of that. I'm seeing personally, I don't know where everyone else is on the interwebs. I'm seeing personally a lot of like growing annoyance and frustration as to when the market's going to pump. I'm seeing a lot of analysts still all the time talking about imminent. This is going to happen. It's happening tomorrow. This is going to pump. This is going to move. And then there's a loop of news about US debt and the deficit and people de-dollarizing and getting away from the US dollar and US based assets and the interest rates not dropping and then the interest rates dropping in other countries. And then it's like a cyclone of just like drama and weird frustration. People are still pushing around a lot of, it can only be called fake news. Like, it's literal fake news. What people are doing, it feels reminiscent of 2017 in a multitude of ways, as far as like, and I dare even say like misinformation, like a lot of the hype and where things are going to go. We have never had a cycle like this. We've never had adoption like this. And I think it's causing like the best people to come out and also some of the worst people to come out. And there's just was that $16 million worth of Bitcoin? It's absolutely insane what's going on. So first things first, a couple of days ago, this popped up and apparently it's still popping up. For those of you not looking at the screen, apparently someone started another rumor that apparently China had rebanned Bitcoin. I honestly can't with this market anymore. In 2018, it was rumored that China had banned Bitcoin, all of it. Like, you can't even say the words Bitcoin without getting reprimanded. And then I found out very easily that Bitcoin was not banned in China. And then we went over that. But of course, if I don't have, my channel's not getting 1 million views per day. So the news barely went anywhere that it didn't actually happen. Then in 2020, there was another news article saying that China had unbanned Bitcoin. And I was like, no, they never banned it. What was banned was the actual usage of Bitcoin as legal tender, as like an actual form of currency. And you can't day trade with it. And then in 2021 or 2022, we got another article from another publication saying that they had heard word that Bitcoin had once again been banned again within China because of capital controls and yada yada. I looked around. Nope, that also wasn't true. A lot of these things are actually used very cleverly or uncleverly simply as a form of market manipulation. The idea being similar to, but not the same as India. The idea is if you can open up Bitcoin in India, like, get everyone there to really like look at it and own some of it. That's 1.5 billion people. That's a gigantic amount of people who could be in the market. So over the years, when we kept on getting news that India was thinking of banning Bitcoin, or India was kicking out cryptocurrency exchanges, or that kind of idea, our prices would actually drop, because it's this idea that if we have 10% of the people in that country into crypto, and that's 150 million people, if they are then banned or restricted from being into it, that's 150 million people that we're losing from the market. Prices will go down. So over the years, we've had this news a multitude of times that someone said in the background, they did it again. It's been rebanned. We just had news in 2024 where I had it in another video where we were there discussing, and I said, no, it's never been banned. And even crazier, I'll never forget, this one threw me for a loop. Someone they wrote a literal article and they were like, guys, Bitcoin has never been banned in China. I can't believe it. And they went and said everything that I've been saying. And I was like, why don't people listen? Why don't people go a step further? So a couple days ago, the news came out that Bitcoin allegedly had been banned in China once again. And then this Forbes article was written with the title, "No, China did not just ban Bitcoin again." And it's slowly leaking out to the rest of the community. If you noticed about 4 or 5 days ago that prices dipped, this was because of the actual. So yeah, awesome. No, they haven't banned it. The stuff from before still stays in place. You cannot use it as a form of legal tender. You cannot day trade with it. And what was the other thing? If you want to have a mining operation, you have to go through the government. If you want, hey, I have 8,000 computers that I want to connect. That's because a lot of people years ago were mining Bitcoin, and they were draining the energy from small villages and small towns without them knowing. And they were essentially these people's lights were turning off and they didn't know why. And then they found out it was because, hey, someone has 1,000 machines linked up down the road to mine Bitcoin. So yeah, that's the no. Bitcoin is not banned again in China. It never was. People can still own it. News. Moving along. Also in very popular news, not slightly popular news. I mean, this one really took the cake. About a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, there was a news report that I don't remember the name of the company. I really don't remember. It's backed by Joseph Lubin. I think he will be one of their board members. Joseph Lubin being the co-creator of Ethereum. Ow, my leg. What did I do? As a co-creator of Ethereum, announced that they were creating a new company or something like that. And that company, they're planning on initially purchasing $500 million to $1 billion worth of Ether. That completely took the world by storm because it looks like other companies are trying to do the same exact thing as Bitcoin reserves. So it was only a matter of time that another one was going to pop up with the same kind of energy. And I mean, people were really excited about this one. China-based company called Webus. I don't know if it's Webus. Webus. China-based Webus International, WETO, has submitted a Form 6K with the US SEC on Tuesday, setting the stage for a potential corporate treasury based on XRP. Of course, everyone completely lost their minds. The general, and I mean the most basic idea being, if a company can announce that they're buying Bitcoin and their stock price goes up, every other company goes, we also got to buy Bitcoin as well. If this new company or whatever announces that they're buying $500 million, listen, that's a crazy amount of money. $500 million to $1 billion worth of Ether. And when they activate that purchase, should the price go up, Other companies will go, well, Ethereum, we like that one a little bit more, so we're going to start an Ethereum reserve. If this company announces that they're creating an XRP reserve, and should their stock price go up by 87% and then 14% and then 21%, and we hear after 5 months their stock has gone up by 600%, similar to the 3,000% from MicroStrategy, and I believe 700% up for Metaplanet, other companies will then follow suit. So thus taking the world by storm news-wise. Foreign private issuers with securities traded on U.S. exchanges use Form 6K to disclose material updates to U.S. investors. According to the filing, the NASDAQ-listed automotive and hospitality company, is exploring a financial strategy. Apparently, they're trying to raise or get or use $300 million US. $300 million US to build an XRP reserve to support international payment solutions. Specifically, Webus plans to incorporate Ripple's blockchain-based payment network into its business to streamline cross-border transactions and bolster transparency across its travel and hospitality booking services. Cool. Let's see when it happens. Let's see if other companies end up doing this. I wonder what the actual connection here is to Ripple. Just completely logical. Joseph Lubin is part of the $1 billion acquisition for Ether. Someone has to be connected here because what is it? Is it car? Oh, yeah. Almost said car company. An automotive and hospitality company does not sit down one day and then decide to throw $300 million into XRP. So there's some kind of connection behind the scenes that we just don't know about. Usually, we tend to normally hear about Japanese companies heavily investing in or incorporating or using or buying XRP in some form or fashion. I mean, there's a multitude of them, usually in like the banking consortiums. But cool. This news was really popular. It is impossible to over, sideways state it. I literally, it is what it is. So cool. I'm expecting big things, as many other people are within this space. It's just a matter of the market actually reflecting what's happening within this space every single day. This has by far been, this has been the weirdest bull market that we've ever had. All the adoption, if we can also be completely honest with ourselves, if we had a company back in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and I dare say 2024, announced that they were buying $300 million worth of XRP, we'd be at $4.10 right now. So I'm not really sure what's going on. This was very popular news. We'll see what ends up happening. We'll see how much more accumulation happens. I assume by the end of the year, we're going to hear a multitude of other companies probably doing the exact same thing as far as the top 3 coins. But let's see. That's the Webus buying $300 million worth of XRP. I assume we'll get news when the filing has happened or when this takes place or when and all that other kind of stuff. Fantastic. Okay. Let's move on. Also I think this news was supposed to be popular for us. It feels like one of those things that we are supposed to appreciate more than it actually appreciates us. In that This news is like great for Bitcoin liquidity, but also it doesn't affect us. It only affects the company. But because you'll see what's happening. So over the course of the last year and a half at this point, it hasn't been 2 years, it hasn't been 5, it's been a year and a half. We have had news about the Bitcoin ETFs launching and the money that's been flowing into them. If you haven't seen before, the highest levels of liquidity have mainly revolved around BlackRock and Fidelity, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of the other companies have seen success, but I mean it's like 1/20th, 1/30th of what BlackRock has actually achieved. It's kind of similar to do you remember last summer? And I don't know why they did this. I still assume somebody behind the scenes wagged a finger in their direction because no one would have logically done this. We had news that apparently Grayscale had a very high fee for their ETF, and then I think they weren't lowering it until the market matured, which also makes no sense. Long story short, a lot of these ETF issuers have seen success, but I mean their inflows into their funds are like 1.2 million, 800,000, maybe 2 million in a day, as opposed to the 300 million for BlackRock. So now ARK 21 shares is talking about an ETF split, similar to a stock split, but slightly different. Companies will usually do like a stock split if their stock is like too expensive. I guess it's kind of similar. If it's too expensive and they want it to like be more accessible to investors who can't afford 3,000 a share, but might be able to put in 300 instead into the actual share. So ARK 21 shares is thinking about splitting, doing a 3-for-1 to enhance accessibility on the 16th of June. This basically means, in no uncertain terms, that a lot of people probably haven't used theirs or wanted to get near. I mean, also, we went over this before. It's BlackRock. Many people will choose the household name over something else, irrespective of what the fees might be. We've gone over that before with Coinbase. There are other crypto exchanges who will have 0.5% fee. Sometimes Coinbase, this isn't a joke, Coinbase's fees are 10%, 12%, sometimes it's 25%. And people still choose to use them, even though BlackRock does, in this instance, have also low fees. But, you know, people will vie for, I own some Bitcoin shares with BlackRock, as opposed to like, I got some Bitcoin ETF with ARK 21 shares. And they're like, I don't know what that second word was, and I've never heard of them before. So to make it more enticing for money to roll into their pockets, they're thinking of doing a split. The ARK 21 shares Bitcoin ETF ARKB is set to unlock or activate a 3-for-1 stock split on the 16th of June, aiming to enhance share accessibility and stimulate trading activity, because I assume it's rather low. You know how we heard, we get charts every now and again. We got something recently talking about BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF being like the best performing thing ever, blah, 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 blah. And then sometimes we'll also hear about Fidelity. There were nine Bitcoin ETFs that launched within the US, and we only hear about 2 over and over and over again. So I assume, and realistically, I would have done a 5-for-1, maybe even a 10-for-1, because I think even for retail investors looking to, diversify, like they still want Bitcoin, but they don't mind a securitized version, maybe for tax reason, even for retail. You know, listen, at some point, if you're accumulating, your accumulation adds up, and you might have $35,000, and you know that's not a small amount of money. You might also want a lower tax burden on that as well. If you do a 5-for-1 or a 10-for-1, it becomes far more accessible, and people are then far more likely to also buy more. It says this move comes amid significant net inflows, with ARKB, okay, never mind, experiencing $430 million in withdrawals over 6 consecutive trading days, highlighting investor caution. We've also even seen before, and I don't know what the incentive is. I really don't. Apparently, like a lot of times, if there are outflows for the other ETFs, we see that money actually moving directly into BlackRock or Fidelity's ETF. I don't know why. Like, I don't honestly know what the reasoning would be. Maybe their fee structure is incredibly different, or maybe, you know, it's a company who knows them and they're like, hey, we're going to move our money over to you to show loyalty. I really don't know. But a lot of times we end up seeing stuff like this. According to CoinOtag, the website, the split will not affect the fund's Bitcoin holdings or overall investment strategy, maintaining stability despite market fluctuations. Cool. Like I said, I think this was also popular news, and I think it was meant to be like something spectacular for us, where we see that and we go, oh my gosh, a 3-for-1, like that kind of thing. This was also all over the place. I don't know if it was just the delusion in some sort of way, not delusion, but this idea of maybe for people in crypto that this would add extra liquidity, or, I mean, if people don't want it, they don't want it. They'll just simply go somewhere else. We had that conversation before thousands of times with Bitcoin futures. A lot of times these futures end up failing because nobody really wants them. Or if they do use them, they're using them from a specific company, especially when you have futures everywhere. I think every crypto exchange also has futures at this point. So anywho, that's the 3-for-1 Bitcoin ETF split on the 16th of June. Sure, you know, the sun will come out tomorrow. And yeah, let's move on. Also, this was popular news, and it also didn't make a lot of sense in a lot of things. There's a company called Marathon Digital Holdings. Marathon announced a month ago that they I listen, if I could explain this to you, I promise I would, but maybe my brain not big enough. I don't know. Marathon Digital Holdings, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're a Bitcoin mining company. And they announced recently that they are now buying Bitcoin for a reserve. And I was like, but you mine it. I think they're one of the largest mining companies as well. And I think they announced that what was the number? That their treasury has like 2,000. It was some really low number, and I was like, so you've been mining it, but maybe the difference is like that's the Bitcoin in their treasury, and then that's the Bitcoin held by the company, like two separate lines. I'm not really sure, but this also made news, and I was like, what is this? What is that supposed to? Marathon Digital Holdings apparently produced 950 Bitcoin in May, representing a 35% increase from April. The news is that they made more Bitcoin than the month before. So were we supposed to like jump for joy? We get so much like corporate like Bitcoin news, or like these large entities like buying coins or mining coins or becoming richer. And I don't know why it ends up in the news. This was also like really popular news. Like, it's not a joke. You know how like earlier, so last year, sometimes we would get news like BlackRock just bought $800 million worth of Bitcoin. And I was like, that's cool. But were we supposed to be happy for them? Were we supposed to? That's not our money. That money will never, ever see the light of day in our wallets. Are we supposed to care that like this company is doing a 3-to-1 split to increase liquidity because nobody really wants their products after they had $500 million worth of outflows? Is Marathon Digital like that big that we're supposed to like? Should we throw a party? Because they managed to mine 950 Bitcoin. That's the purpose of their operation. They're a Bitcoin mining company. The company said they won 282 blocks, growing its hash rate to 58 exahashes per second. Riot Platform has a more modest 11% production to 514 Bitcoin. but it sold 500 Bitcoin during the same period. What am I? What's the a lot of the news is so weird sometimes. Like what ends up making really so. And I'll tell you the truth. I'm being 1,000% honest. I don't know everything. Surprise. But I sit there sometimes and I see that 17 different websites talked about this news. And I go, maybe I'm not understanding. I don't know everything. I'm not the smartest human being on the planet. So therefore, maybe I'm not getting why this was big, popular, crazy, awesome, incredible news. It didn't increase Bitcoin's liquidity. They increased their richness. The amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges continues to decrease. I'm not. So, whoa, that's awesome. A Bitcoin mining company managed to mine more Bitcoin. Whoa, guys, this is the craziest day that we've ever had within this space. This is probably even more significant than two companies almost having 1 million Bitcoin each. That's the Marathon Digital Holdings news. And yeah, you know what? I think that's actually going to do it for this video. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's doing okay. Believe me, I know the market is frustrating. I know that a lot of stuff that should have happened hasn't happened. I know we've been getting a lot more news as of late about like tariffs causing harm to the cryptocurrency market and prices not moving where they should be. And also hearing that the Fed is not going to be lowering interest rates anytime soon. So, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. It's always incredibly odd for me being here, getting nonstop good news and not seeing the bull run running like it should just because of tariffs. Like it's almost maddening. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I sincerely hope that you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be, I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.